Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lizzie, and for today's video we are picking another card from the top 50 horror movie scratch-offs. If you haven't seen any of my previous videos, go check those out. They explain what this is, but once you have these cards, you do a scratch-off. So, done a couple of these already, and I thought that I would go ahead and pull another one from the box. So as you can see, I've done a couple already. So what I like to do is just go through and kind of shuffle until I feel one that I like. Okay, so I'm gonna go with this one right here. It says 88 minutes, so not a super long film, which is kind of nice. Rated R, 1973 mystery thriller. Go ahead and scratch it. And if you haven't seen any of my previous ones, you know that I'm not great at guessing the film based off of the hints, so I definitely have absolutely no clue what this one is. I think I've only guessed a couple of them, which was obviously Scream, and I think Saw and Lost Boys, again, because some of my favorite films, so those ones were easy. I usually like to start from the top and kind of scratch down and then see if I can guess what the film is. Oh, I already know what this one is. I'm pretty sure it is, can't think of the name of it, but I know what it is. Yep. The Wicker Man, that's right. I don't know why I couldn't think of it. I wanted to say Burning Man, because that is the clue. So this film I have actually already watched and reviewed for 101 Days of Horror. So some of the other ones that I've scratched off I have already like watched and reviewed, and I'm kind of like redoing. I actually pretty much enjoyed this film for the most part from what I remember. So I don't think I'm going to be rewatching this one. Maybe at some point I will. But this is my channel, it's my choice. I don't really necessarily feel like rewatching this one. So I will leave you guys the link to my original review if you do want to see my feelings on that film. And again, I'll keep this one. Maybe I'll rewatch it at some point, but just not really in the mood to rewatch that one. I guess I could watch the remake with Nicolas Cage. I'll set that one aside and then we'll see what other choice I got. So we'll give myself two options, and then depending on how I feel about the second draw, we'll go from there. This one. Oh, it's like the second to last one in the pile. So this one says, rated R, 2022, 92 minutes, a bit longer. Psychological mystery. I want to say early 2000s. I feel like it's either, well, not really. Okay, so this is just a couple years ago. Psychological mystery. I feel like it wouldn't be anything in like the Conjuring universe, because that would be like paranormal. So I'm not sure, but we'll go ahead and scratch it off from the top. Okay, it's mainly just a gray background right now. Okay, I'm seeing the back of somebody's head. I don't know this one. I'll show you guys to see if you can kind of guess based off of the image, if you're able to see that, because I don't think I know this film. That's exciting when I don't actually know. Most of these are films I've either heard of. Oh, okay, I have heard of this film. I've not seen it. So it is Good Night Mommy. Yes, I have heard of this film. is by Matt Sable. This is a film that I missed in rotation. So yeah, that's exciting. Okay, yay, I am gonna watch this one because finally a film that I have not seen, and I'm really excited to watch this one. I don't really remember what this film is about, so that's also really exciting because now I get to go into it super blind. So I'm gonna go see if I can find somewhere to watch this one, hopefully, and I will be back to let y'all know what my thoughts are on it.
Mommy? Mom?
You're early. Okay, just got done with watching Goodnight Mommy, and like I said, I went to this film completely blind, really knowing nothing about the film. I did see, though, when I went to look for it to watch, that it is a remake of a early 2000s Australian film, but obviously I have not seen that one, so this is going to be just completely about this film. I'm not going to be talking about it as a remake, I'm just going to be talking about it as a film. I did find it through Amazon Prime to watch on there. That is where I watched it. So forewarning, if you have not seen this film, I am going to be talking about major spoilers. So if you still want to see this film without having anything spoiled, I would definitely recommend going and watching it first and then coming back to watch this review and we can talk about it in the comments. But going into this film, it focuses on these two twins, Lucas and Elias, and they are visiting their mom seemingly for the first time after their parents have divorced. Their dad drops them off, and when we first meet their mom, who is played by Naomi Watts, which is also cool, did not know she was in this. She's another one of those actresses that is like award-winning, well-known actress that just randomly like pops up in horror, obviously like the Ring franchise, but did not know that she was in this, so that was really cool to see. You don't necessarily recognize her at first because when we first meet her, she is wearing this mask and she has been talking about how she just had plastic surgery, and we are kind of watching the film through these two young boys' point of view. So we are seeing their mother kind of behave very oddly, just not very, like, not super loving. There's a couple of odd things that she does throughout the film. One being that when Elias gives her this picture that he has drawn himself, eventually we find that she has thrown it out. She then goes to like tear it up. She does some kind of other odd behavior that the boys talk about, how like it's just not her. Again, just not being, we see some clips, like flashback clips of her previously, obviously like before the divorce, and just how like sweet and loving of a mother she is, and how just like different she is. And it kind of leads the boys, especially Lucas, putting this kind of opinion that she is not their mother, and Lucas is really the twin that is really like kind of pushing this idea onto Elias throughout the film, and as things progress, we get to a point in the film where Elias is having these nightmares about their mother being at one point we have a scene where her skin starts to kind of like come off, becomes this almost kind of like shadow-like creature with just like indents of where her eyes would be and just like deformed mouth, like. But Elias wakes up and it's very obvious that that is a nightmare that he is having. But that is kind of where this boy's mindset is, and at one point in the film where they are fully convinced that this is not their mother, that something has happened to their mother, and they haven't been able to get a hold of their father, they decide that they need to take it upon themselves and try to find their real mother. And so they tie up the woman that they believe is pretending to be their mother in attempts to take off and escape. And in that moment, it's about I checked and it was about an hour and 10 minutes into the film. And so there was about like 20 to 30 minutes left of the film, and I felt the dynamic switch, and the vibe of the film switch. So the dynamic between the two boys switches, the dynamic between Elias and his mother switch, where she is kind of convincing him, like, or at least attempting to convince him not to believe Lucas, and of course Lucas tells Elias, like, she's trying to come between us, tear us apart, like, don't listen to her, and Elias, obviously very much still loving his mother, starts to kind of lean more towards on her side, and I don't know if the vibe was intentionally switched so that you as a viewer would catch on to what's happening, but I definitely, that was a moment, again, I'm gonna get to the spoilers, but that was a moment where I was like, oh, okay, I think I know what's going on here, because at the very end of the film, it is, sorry, my cat's in the window, it is revealed that Lucas is not alive. He died in an accident that Elias was responsible for. This entire time, Elias has been imagining Lucas being present and has been speaking to him. That's not 100% where I thought the film was going. I kind of expected it to be that, like, maybe Lucas was never real, that he was just like almost like a split personality situation. I know that's no longer the right term, so I apologize, but that's where I kind of thought it was going, but it is revealed, so I was still pleasantly surprised by this twist of Lucas's death, which explains the mother's behavior throughout the majority of this film. Because she attempts to force Elias to confront what happened. She apologizes to him for her behavior, but she's like, I just could no longer sit there and, like, watch you play with him and pretend that he's, you know, alive, and, like, I just need you to face it so that we can face this and kind of move on together. And obviously this is very upsetting. This triggers Elias. He ends up shoving his mom, and she falls, and ends up dying, and then we see him and her together, obviously, like, this, again, figment of his imagination that he's pretending to, or that he believes he sees his mother, and that's how the film ends, which I didn't, like, super love that part. I think it would have been very interesting if we could have just had, I don't know, like a nice ending to the film, like have Elias make this realization, but it definitely, like, it's a dark film throughout it, especially when you realize what is actually going on, what has actually happened, and it very much obviously explains the previous events of the film, which felt a bit more, and it explains why they describe it as like a psychological thriller, because the beginning of the film, it feels very much almost paranormal, alien-like, and then obviously we have our reveal. So with the reveal, I did end up quite coming to enjoy the film. The first bit of the film wasn't a huge fan of. You know, as someone who is child-free by choice, because I just don't want to have kids and I don't think that I would be a good mom, it was very much like watching a very, like, it felt like just watching a very angry woman be angry with her quite obnoxious children, but obviously with the reveal it explains why all of that happened, and it does, and again, with that twist, it does end up making kind of the rest of the film be enjoyable. I think it would be interesting to rewatch this film knowing what I know now, and I would be probably interested in watching the original. I think that it was also on Amazon Prime as well, so I might have to watch that and give you guys my thoughts on that one as well, and then maybe I can just kind of like give my thoughts comparatively if that's something you guys are interested in, now that I've watched this remake version of it. I did see Gory B actually on her Letterboxd review, because I always jump on there, did say that, you know, at least with this film it's acknowledged that it's a remake, where the original one feels like a copy of A Tale of Two Sisters, which I have seen. I do believe I reviewed that one for 101 Days of Horror as well, and that wasn't a film that I super loved. I remember just like not really, it just wasn't my vibe, but I can definitely understand and see and agree with that comparison. I definitely think that it is definitely a film that follows a kind of same storyline, but I liked this version of it pretty well. I'm not, you know, it's not by any means a new favorite horror film, but I do think it's a good film and it is enjoyable, but I think that you have to get to that like plot twist reveal to kind of enjoy what had happened previously in the film. At least that's the way I felt with it. So that is my feelings on this film. I hope that you enjoyed this review. If you have seen the film, let me know what your thoughts were on it in the comments below. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a big old thumbs up. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for more spooky and horror related content, and I will see you all again later with another video. Bye!